But we kind of noticed or saw an opportunity really in the industry because it was, highlight reel, kill shot, and rock and roll music, and that was hunting TV. Our show format and style is high production quality, but also really real and raw. So it's kind of a mixture of that. Like it's like some of that stuff's great. Like it might, maybe shot with a red, but it may be handheld and a little raw. And a lot of times, in hunting situations, the best stuff is, the raw stuff that you capture. You can't recreate. So like
going back to whitetail, it seems like people just love that. And we've shown a lot more mule deer stuff, and people enjoy that. But every time we go back to whitetails and just like our roots and everything, like I don't know, our following seems to really go back to that.
Heartland Bowhunter is still going strong and very relevant. And so, what is it about? And it's been there for a long time. So, what is it that is leading to your success? All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Bowmen podcast. We're at the Western Hunt Expo. I'm here with the guys from Heartland Bowhunter. We got Michael Hunsucker. Hunsucker?
Yep.
You want me to just say
good
mine?
Good luck with Shawn.
Shawn Luchtel.
Luchtel?
Yeah.
I was going to say Luchtel.
So
It gets
bad.
It gets butchered really bad.
And I just got married to my wife. She's
dealing with it?
Well, yeah, she's dealing with it, but she had it before.
What
too.
is Luchtel?
It's Dutch, I guess.
Is it?
Yeah.
And Hunsucker?
Hunsucker. Hun sucker. That's what I tell you.
Hunsucker.
Yeah, it's German.
Hunsucker.
Wow. I'm half Italian though. So.
Really?
Yeah.
You're just making that
up.
up.
Swear to God.
He is.
Yeah, my grandma. My mom's full Italian. My grandma.
Really?
They're all in the restaurant business.
So can you cook?
I can grill.
I can eat.
Yeah. I can do like man cooking
You can
stuff.
cook a little.
Just a little bit.
So, I remember tuning into Heartland Bowhunter like at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk to you guys. I've always been a big fan of Heartland Bowhunter from day one, and the footage you guys captured and the story you told was way ahead of its time. Talking about the hunting industry being in the Stone Ages.
Exactly.
You guys were coming out with film that was finally kind of what I'd like to see on a hunting television type show. So, I mean, how did you guys get involved in that?
Well, we just started just filming for hunts for fun, when we went to high school together, and so we would just film for fun, share it with friends and family. But we got a little more serious about it, and once we got a little more serious about it, we kind of noticed or saw an opportunity really in the industry because it was highlight reel, kill shot, and rock and roll music, and that was hunting TV, and it just didn't make sense to us really, like why there's so much more that goes into it. Behind it that nobody was showing, and all we do is bow hunt. So I mean, it's super, a lot of work goes into it, a lot of time, preparation, scouting, all that stuff, and nobody was really telling that story or telling any stories. So with anything with any cinematic value. So it was we were young, in college, and just kind of saw an opportunity and ran.
What were you using to edit when you started?
So actually, we started editing with just a little laptop. And what was it? Final Cut Pro
7.
Yeah, Pro 7.
Old school.
And, and 10 came out, and they were pushing that, and so we switched to Adobe Premiere, which is far more efficient than 10. And so now we've actually got a bigger Mac, Mac Pro.
Nice.
Mac Pros,
Yeah. I have a. I started when I used to just use iMovie, and just made some films and stuff with buddies. And at the end of each hunting season, I would just cobble together some film, and we would get together, eat barbecue, at, whatever we shot, and watch rough cut videos of the thing. And then I was like, I want to do something more, and I want to learn how to run a camera and all this stuff. And then I bought an iMac, and some software. I bought Final Cut Pro 10, and started editing some stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I put a couple films together for the Full Draw Film Tour. One of the films I did, Tim put on Solo Hunter TV.
Oh, okay, cool.
A blacktail hunting episode. And so I kind of played around with making some little films here and there. But Final Cut 10 is now, I've messed around. I can edit. I can make a film out of Adobe Premiere. But it takes me way longer than it does Final Cut just because I haven't spent much time in it.
Right. Yeah. Final Cut's definitely more. Final Cut 10 is more, entry level. It's more, it's way more.
Not as powerful.
Efficient for that. Yeah. I mean, you can still do everything you need to do for basic editing.
Yeah.
But for like just Adobe's whole suite, just everything crosses over, and that was what the problem with when we were using Final Cut 7 is they quit updating it. When it came out with Final Cut Pro 10 or X and
it had a lot of deficiencies when it first came out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and so one of the guys that did a lot of our editing was just really in tune with Final Cut 7. Didn't want to update. And he would always tell us, Trevor is his name. He would always say like Final Cut Pro X is kind of like Microsoft Word, like asking you like auto doing stuff. Like it tries to tell you what you want to do, and which is great if you're learning. But for guys that have been doing it forever, they don't want that stuff.
Right.
So,
I noticed that it's a lot more intuitive for me to use Final Cut than it is Adobe.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, where's the buttons? Where's the drag and drop? Where's the images? And
Jimmy John's lady's here.
All right. Hey, all right.
Nice.
Freaky fast.
She's like, everyone says that.
Hey, you don't have to cut this out.
No.
This is
no.
good. This
Jimmy,
is good stuff.
this is like Jimmy John's. When I worked at, because before I started Gritty Bowmen, I did a corporate thing for a long time. And we would order Jimmy John's every day. Like, because it didn't interfere with my job. Like, I could get it, and they literally were there in stupid fast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just did a little bit of editing in the other stuff, but I want to get better at the Adobe.
Yeah, we don't really do much editing. I honestly anything I still do in Final Cut Pro 7. I'll export it and transcode it so I can do that because we don't, like I said, we do very little editing ourselves, and so I just haven't taken the time to mess with Premiere and learn it. But Shawn's been.
I sat down with one of our editors last week for about 3-4 hours, and I was like, I want to start editing a lot of our content that's going on social media, just short videos,
just simple stuff,
and basically just obviously mirror what our editors are doing now. And so I sat down with him for 3-4 hours and went through his workflow. That was not long enough, not even close. So I'm going to have to do it a few more times before I can even get close. But I mean, it's insane, like how much work and time goes into that stuff, especially just cutting through stuff, rough cutting. Yeah, it's unbelievable how much content we have.
Well, you came to my film.
Yep.
Premiere.
Yeah, I was there.
Sean was there as well.
Sean, you were there.
Yep.
And I actually, it's the first time I ever paid someone to do a film for me. Mm-hmm. Paid an editor because I've done it all by myself before, and it's not easy to have someone else do that for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have a plan in place. Just here's the video, and I want it to be like this. But then it required a lot more input than I planned. It doesn't actually. So when you guys go to create an episode of Heartland Bowhunter, how do you approach it?
Well, we don't like storyboard or script anything out ahead of time. We literally just shoot, and that was kind of our, starting out. We were like, all right, we're just going to shoot everything, film everything, and we would have way more footage than we needed. But now we've gotten more efficient to where we know what we need to get. But we still, we go out and shoot, and we just shoot, and then at the end of the season, we'll sit down and say, okay, here's what we got. Then we start to organize, each episode, how it's going to lay out, the stories and everything. And so it's usually after the fact, after all the shooting is done, is when we start really figuring everything out.
Okay.
But it's tough, like you said, having somebody else do it. Like you have these expectations, but you may not have exactly what you want. You may not know exactly what you want. And we deal with that. We do a lot of client work. We do other commercials and short films and branding stories and films and. A lot of times people don't know what they want. They just they want something cool. They want something that looks good.
Right.
And the best clients that we work with are the ones that are just do your thing. Just as long as it's cool and it has our brand, we're good.
Yeah.
But then you get some of the other side of the coin where just do your thing. And then you do it and they're no, let's do this and this and this.
I'm that guy.
And And so, you get it. You live the hunt and you live the whole story. So you want it to be perfect.
But somebody asked me the other day, they're like, well, what if they did it how you thought you wanted it? I'm like, well, then, it's a win. That's what it's so difficult to say.
Exactly what you want.
You have to, I think, have someone that identifies with your vision and gets you if they're going to tackle it.
It's tough, man, especially like going through the hiring process for an editor for our show or for our production company. It's so tough to find the right person that has the same vision we do, like you're saying.
Do they get a little frustrated with your video? They pretty like.
Oh no, they're spoiled, man. I'm serious. So we produce our show. We produce Heartland Waterfowl. We own and produce Heartland Waterfowl, and then we produce a show called The Lindsay Way with Jeff and David Lindsay. And so like they're all different in their own right a little bit, but like we've done stuff. I mean, we've done some other hunting type stuff where we've just taken footage from somebody else and other stuff, and like our editors are spoiled. They have
my footage is a nightmare.
They have a lot to work with.
Because I sometimes have Aaron Snyder as my cameraman, and so it
yeah, you explain that.
Takes it to another level right there. I've never really filmed with the intent of creating a film. We just turn the camera on and get stuff. Mm-hmm. And so,
and what were you guys shooting your time lapses with? I was wondering.
So all the time lapses I used were either the A7S2, or I used the Hero 5 GoPro.
Okay.
Or Hero 4, I mean.
The one, like the 360 one? Do you have the little egg timer?
So I got a little egg timer. What is it? The Go Stick or something? I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. They actually make those.
And I twist it. It was like $30, man.
Dude, we made those back in the day.
Did you?
Seriously, 8-9 years ago, we literally bought a kitchen timer.
Dude, I stick that, I shove it in the ground, I turn it on, and I ride off on horseback to go hunt. And I come back, and it doesn't weigh anything. I don't mind leaving it there. It gets rained on, whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
And the egg timer thing's light. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And you get some cool stuff.
Yep.
So some films I've done all with, a slider and a tripod and DSLR and, fast lenses and the whole thing.
Yep.
And then other ones I used my iPhone and a GoPro and kind of just cobble things together. And it's not that easy if you're an editor that's used to making real films.
Yeah.
And then you got to work with something
a bunch of raw footage.
Yeah, a bunch of iPhone footage. I find they have a really hard time knowing what to do with it.
Yeah. That's what's tough for us is we, our show format and style is high production quality, but also really real and raw. So it's kind of a mixture of that. It's some of that stuff's great. It might, maybe shot with a red, but it may be handheld and a little raw. And a lot of times, in hunting situations, the best stuff is, the raw stuff that you capture. You can't recreate. So on your film, the example, that guy that whoever was filming, or was it you who were filming? No, it was your guide, the guy you were hunting with.
Yeah.
That he ran with the camera on record.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to, but at the end you use it, and it's kind of cool, and it worked out. So we have a lot of situations like that where we end up using stuff that was maybe unintentionally shot. But
that's good. That leads into another question. So you guys have been around since 2006, roughly.
I think so. Yeah.
We're going into our 11th season now. So of the TV show.
So that's pretty much when we started filming for Heartland Bowhunter.
Okay.
2006.
So 2006, and now we're 2017.
18.
18. That's I meant that. What? And so I've seen a lot of hunting TV die.
Yep.
Disappear. I see it changing all the time. The consumer is wanting something different, something that seems to resonate more with them, and so on. Heartland Bowhunter is still going strong and very relevant. And so what is it about, and it's been there for a long time. So what is it that is leading to your success?
We're always just trying to push the envelope and stay, ahead of the game. And that's how we got into the industry. I mean, how competitive and how tough this industry is to get in, and everybody wants to do it. Everybody wants to have a hunting TV show. And,
or they think they do.
Yeah, they think they do until they realize the reality. So, but just staying ahead of the game and thinking outside of the box and outside of the industry even. That's one thing about this industry. It seems like so many people look within for motivation and for inspiration.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're talking about the industry being delayed compared to everything else. That's the last place you should be looking for inspiration. So, we've constantly had to change our business model and our approach to everything. we still produce the 13 TV episodes, but we also produce 20 digital episodes online that are shorter form content, 8 to 12 minutes. And, social media is huge and important. People want content quick and now. And so we're always just constantly, changing our approach to make sure that we kind of stay ahead of the game.
And I think we've done a really good job trying to keep it real, like be ourselves, have our own identity and not try to be something that we're not. And you see that out there.
Yeah, that was like when we got started. Like I remember, like obviously the videography and the like quality approach was going to be our one thing, but like the industry had a lot of ego, a lot of macho-ness to it. Like nobody showed like misses and that kind of stuff, and so like and that's people want to see stuff they can relate to. Mm-hmm. And we hunt a lot more than a lot of people get to hunt. But we're not perfect by any means. That stuff happens, and some of those real and raw moments are the best.
Right. Yeah. What have you found that the audience really likes when you put content out? What is it that is like a total winner for you?
Man, I would just honestly, it goes back to whitetails all the time. Like I love hunting Western game. It's become very close favorite for me as far as game to hunt, but going back to whitetail, it seems like people just love that. And we've shown a lot more mule deer stuff, and people enjoy that, but every time we go back to whitetails and just like our roots and everything, like I don't know, our following seems to really go back to that the most, I feel like.
So many people can just walk out their back door and hunt whitetail, and that's the difference. I mean, people love watching a mule deer hunt or an elk hunt, but most people aren't going to be able to do that. I mean, most of our audience, out west, it's a little bit different out here.
Right.
There's a lot of public land and people have access to.
Yeah, that just came up.
That stuff. And
that just came up yesterday, doing a podcast, and we were talking about whitetail. I was saying, okay, I went on a moose hunt, I went on a goat hunt, I did, I did a killer mule deer hunt in Alberta, and I've done these kind of, I guess, more exotic type hunts. And then I went to Oklahoma and hunted whitetail, and I went to Texas and hunted whitetail, and I went to Alabama and hunted whitetail. And it's like, I hunted whitetail a lot, 2017, first time. And then elk. Did some elk in the backyard, over-the-counter kind of stuff, archery. And everybody can do it.
Yep.
And especially if you live in the West.
Yeah.
It's just like your whitetail.
Yep.
You can just go by your tag and go out your back door.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that, and it's so funny because the hunts that I had the most fun at, and then I kind of want to like share the most, are the whitetail hunts and a couple elk hunts.
Yeah.
Like,
just 'cause
and they're the most accessible public land, like no money required. You can do it over the counter. Anybody can do it. And those are the ones that I'm the most interested in sharing.
Yeah.
What the heck?
It's just, I think it boils down to like just new adventure, new experiences. That's why we like the Western stuff is like super appealing to us because we've been hunting whitetails all our lives.
Yeah.
And like, so like, doing new hunts and new styles and new areas and new terrain, and like that's what's appealing, I think.
I love that, but I've never hunted whitetails until this year, 2017, and so I shot 3 whitetail bucks, and I shot a bunch of does in Texas because you can do that, and they're just cool.
Yeah,
they
Texas and Oklahoma will spoil you for whitetail.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not for the biggest deer in the world, but for target-rich environment.
For action? Yeah. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And the whitetail in Texas we did spot and stalk with a bow.
Oh, sweet.
And then I hunted in Oklahoma with Tim Burnett for like a week, and then the last day of archery was opening day for rifle, and it was like a freaking. It's like 70-mile-an-hour winds and stuff, and so I couldn't shoot with a bow out of the tree, and I got down with a rifle, and we're like, you know what? Let's just walk around, and we saw a buck mount a doe, and then chase her and bed down somewhere in this around this. We crept up, got to 50 yards of this buck, and then I'm like, man, I wish I had my bow.
Yeah.
And but then I shot the buck with Tim's rifle, and man, it was just really fun.
They're super aggressive too when it comes to the rut, and I think that has something to do with it as well for people just loving whitetail. But
Absolutely.
It's exciting.
Absolutely. Like the Oklahoma buck was just running back and forth. I was rattling the antlers, and he'd look his head over. He's like 400 yards away.
They just lose their mind. It's unreal.
And that was intense. And then the Texas one, I was sneaking up on him, got up, and I think he just got up to check his doe or whatever, and happened to see us about 80 yards away, and he's like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And he ran off. So I was sitting there talking, man, that's a bummer. Like, barely got this show started. And then, like, 5 minutes later, he runs back and lays right back down by that doe.
Leaving her, yeah.
And didn't even look at me. I'm standing in the wide open just like I was when he left.
Yeah.
But he decided, I guess, that's okay.
Yeah.
It sealed his fate.
They're amazing. There's a deer that we have living on one of the farms that we hunt, and he summered like way off on like the north side, and this year during the rut he moved off on the south side and onto the neighbors for a while, and then like the peak of the rut when people call it lockdown. That's when most of the bucks have does, and I just got into the farm, and I look out there in the field, middle of the day, like noon, and there's like this little island of trees, probably 15 feet wide, and he's just standing there in the middle of the day, just standing there looking around like, what is going on? So I get my scope out, watching him. He's got a doe bedded down in this little group of trees out in the wide open middle of this bean field, and he's just standing over her, just like nobody's coming out here, and if they do, I'm gonna kick their ass.
They're crazy.
It's just crazy, man.
Yeah,
they like want to. They get in the weirdest places during the rut. Like they'll just try to get the does away from the other other deer. Less competition. How
much elk hunting have you guys done?
Not done.
Not much, but I got my fair share in this year. Oh gosh,
we've been on,
and I didn't kill one either. Yeah, I got a landowner's tag for 16B in New Mexico.
Okay.
And that's like one of the premium units.
Yeah.
And, I think I came to full draw like 3 or 4 times, never released an arrow. And to cap it off, the very last encounter I had was like this double main beam bull, like 350, 360 bull.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we go in there and the guy behind us starts calling, and this bull screams, and he's just charging in. I'll have to show you the video on my phone. It's unbelievable. Comes charging right around this tree, and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to run me over, So I draw right before he comes around the tree, comes running right in, and he's probably 10, 12 feet from me.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have a split second to make a decision. Like, am I going to shoot him as he comes by or stop him? And as soon as I just started to have that quartering 2 shot, I tried to stop him. And, I mean, he locked eyes with me and just bolted out of there. And I'm like, man, it's a blast, though. Gosh, it's a blast.
Well, that's the thing about when you talk about the rut. Like, elk are insane, too.
Yeah.
They're reckless and stupid and
they weren't stupid enough for Shawn.
Yeah,
or I wasn't.
Same here. It's like every year. The one thing I notice about elk hunting is it's a grind every time, like physically demanding, especially if you're doing like an over-the-counter type thing, and it's just nothing but work, physical work. It's not. But it's funny because for me, any elk hunt I publish gets more views than anything else. Mule deer, but I'd say my second, is definitely has been whitetail. Like, and I think it's just the sheer number of people who love whitetail.
Yeah, there's more whitetail hunters than anything else.
Because I all my numbers shifted to like Oklahoma and Texas after I hunted down there. Like as far as people following the show and interested in what we're doing, so that surprised me.
Yeah. It makes sense for you too to expand that way. I mean.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
I went to Arizona and hunted Coues deer. That wasn't fun. Okay, so now I'm mad. Like, I want to make it happen.
That's something that we haven't done. I call them mini whitetails.
They're tough. They're tough to hunt, and I don't know.
You don't realize how small they are.
I'm not a patient hunter, and Coues deer hunting takes patience most of the time, a lot of it.
I'm way patient. Like, I could spend all day sneaking up on a deer.
Oh, I could do that, but I'm not sitting on a water hole for 12 hours.
That's the thing is I talked about that. I like ambush hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've done it a lot for I've done a lot of ambush hunting for blacktail because I grew up in Portland, Oregon, or just outside of Portland in the suburbs. There's a lot of blacktail kind of suburban bucks. And I even had Suburban Bowhunter on here not too long ago. Those guys are shooting some giant whitetails downtown.
We met those guys at ATA.
Met them at ATA,
I hadn't heard of what they do until then, but man, that
me too.
Pretty cool
story.
Yeah,
cool story.
They were funny. It was fun. I was asking them all the stories, and they're shooting these bucks in downtown Atlanta. In like some of the like dangerous neighborhoods, where murders happen, and there's like, tweakers everywhere.
People getting shot, not animals.
Yeah. Oh, they found a dead body once.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Nice.
They shoot one and it runs down a sidewalk, and then dies under someone's swing set in their backyard.
You're talking about deer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. No, I'm kidding.
That's a good point. And that's really interesting. I mean, that's how a lot of blacktail hunting happens. It's in your backyard. You don't have time to go up to the mountain. There's bucks everywhere, and deer, especially during the rut, on like 5 acres or 3 acres. And you get permission from a bunch of people that are like, yeah, this one eats all my like Japanese, maples. I need you to kill this thing. Yeah. Last year, he destroyed my $5,000 tree in my garden, and the next thing you know, you're having a blast chasing deer in small suburban pockets. And, I think it's a shame because there are a lot of people who look down on that. And to me, it's just another.
I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that can relate to that, I'm sure. I mean, that's what I was talking to those guys at ATA, and they're new in the industry, just getting started. And, they were kind of asking some questions about different stuff. And, we were talking about just being unique and different and finding your own way. And, like, that they have a unique angle. Like some people have touched on it in the past, but nobody's really done that. And I think they got a pretty good opportunity to do.
Yeah, and they're capturing when they gain access or permission to these small pieces of property, and I think that's really cool. That's really unique.
And I think it brings awareness to people. Like you shoot a buck maybe on their property, and you come back with some deer venison, and you're handing it over, and they're like, hey, this jerky, this sausage is good. Yeah, this backstrap
for sure.
And what a way to like make it relevant today.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for the way society is today and just how everything's changing.
Well, I read American Serengeti and then Coyote America by Dan Flores, and he talks about the number of coyote like packs and populations in. I think Denver, Colorado is one of the highest density of coyotes in the downtown area.
Really,
and in a major part of the city, there's huge packs of coyotes, and they just intermingle and live among human beings. Like
they learn to deal with it.
We don't even know it. Yeah. And you'll see you see that whitetail buck, and you're like some of these bucks that these guys have taken. You're going, and that was what was fascinating. I'm like, where do these things live?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, they live in the center median of a highway over here, and then at night, they cross and they go to this guy's backyard and rut does, and then they go 2 miles over here across like 5 lanes of traffic, and they rut these does, and these are like 10-year-old deer.
Yeah, they're not dumb.
They've lived a while.
They evolve.
It's
learn to deal with it.
amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. I think they were showing us a map or something about how this deer they've been hunting has traveled like 2 miles from one little piece that they have here across the city to another one.
Yeah. So
unbelievable.
So staying relevant has a lot to do with being constantly challenging yourself.
Yeah, I mean, constantly pushing the envelope and staying true to what we were kind of founded on and what we started on, and still sticking to our roots.
Yeah.
And doing new things as well, like new hunts, like hunting out west, like Mike was talking about earlier. It's learning new stuff. It's been a blast, and just showing that. We're not necessarily experts on hunting.
Yeah.
We're always learning new stuff, just like everyone else, and going and doing new stuff. Like he went on a bear hunt this past year, and we'd never hunted bears. He chose the biggest one basically in the world to hunt, but
Where'd you guys go?
Kodiak Island.
Did you go with Cole?
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but Cole went to high school with us too.
Oh no, I did not know that.
So it's pretty small world. So yeah.
And then
all three of us went to high school
our
together.
good buddy Nate, his sister, grew up with us, and like long childhood friend. She's married to Brandon Shockey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so Nate,
Small
her brother, is on our show. It's
wow.
Crazy. Small world, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is a small world, especially in this industry.
No doubt.
You know, it doesn't take long before you kind of know most of the people in it.
That's right.
So how do you guys like decide what goes into a show and what doesn't go into a show?
It always depends. Every episode's a little different, you know. And we have like the bear hunt, for example. I mean, it was a 14-day, or I had 15 days, 14 days, 2 weeks to hunt. I killed them on the 12th day, but it's a trip and a hunt until like day, you know, start to finish. We travel, go on the hunt, the whole hunt is done, and that's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, we kind of basically go through and lay everything out and look at the most exciting, you know, close encounters or what we want to include. That's pretty like straightforward, but like a lot of stuff, like our stuff back home in Missouri, like we'll have hunted like last year the buck Shawn killed. You know, he'd hunted like 20-something days prior to that, and so like we have way more stuff than we're ever going to use. And so, you know, a lot of times we'll basically kind of highlight the really good stuff, and then kind of montage through some of the other stuff to show the passing of the time and really highlight like the best footage and like some of the coolest stuff, and just kind of to tie it all together. So every episode's different. That's what's kind of unique and cool about you know, we're talking about staying relevant and staying you know. It's every story is different. Every episode's a little bit different. It has its own story and background, and you know, we're building history with a lot of these deer, and so I don't know. Each episode's a little unique.
How are you handling though bear hunting? Like, you know, is there? I mean, I just know from sharing bear hunting footage, and you know, we had Joe Rogan on the podcast talking about hunting bears and how there's the hierarchy of animals that are okay to kill and stuff, and bears are like on that holy grail where, you know, if you kill them, you're the devil himself, reincarnate.
Well, we witnessed some of that with the feedback, which, I mean, it hasn't even aired, just from the photos.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that, like, we all grew up with, like, little
teddy bears.
Yeah,
no.
And they're beautiful, beautiful animals. Like, a brown bear is, I mean, gorgeous animal, but people don't understand you know, what goes on, you know, out there. The big mature boars that we're targeting, you know, they will target and kill and eat cubs because
Cameron Haynes has posted a few videos.
Yeah. So like the sow, when she has the cubs, they'll stay with her for 2-3 years,
right?
Sometimes even longer. And while they're nursing and with her, they won't go back into heat.
Yeah.
And so the bears go kill them, so the sows will go back into heat, and so one big old mature boar will kill
a lot of cubs.
A lot of bears.
It has a more deleterious effect on the population than people realize, and by actually harvesting older bears like that, you get more bears in your population.
Well, yeah, and Kodiak Island understands that better than anybody, and that's why they have the highest, you know, brown bear population in the world. So.
Well, then on the top of that, to me, it's a natural recurring resource too, where it's, I mean, as callous as it might sound to someone who's outside the hunting space, it's an economic resource.
Sure.
That's a big economic resource. We hunted with Bart Lancaster up there in BC on that goat hunt, and Bart's been hunting there been in guiding since a youth. And, you know, he'll sell a bear hunt for $20,000 plus, and you know, he'll have a certain allocation of so many per miles on his a certain quota. That's a huge income stream.
Yeah.
When they shoot, you know, 4 or 5 of these, and the quotas in much of their opinion is too small as it is. Mm-hmm. So the population it's completely sustainable, and we've covered it a few times on the podcast. That's why it's frustrating that they banned grizzly hunting.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I just heard that from Dustin Rowe. What was it, yesterday? I didn't realize that.
It is crazy.
That's mind-blowing.
That'll be really interesting to see. I mean, that could be potentially dangerous.
We did that. And at the time we were doing the goat hunt, we did a couple of podcasts with Bart while we were there on site. And Bart talked about being on the ground there, and we saw it. Like, we're like, where are the moose? Where are the elk? Where are the caribou? And he's like, dude, we have a grizzly bear. We have a bear issue here. Like, they're not being harvested. The quotas are too small. Some of these populations of ungulates are struggling, especially moose. You got wolves, and they're not being hunted much, and so that population is declining rapidly. And then it got banned, like a month or two later, which we knew it was in the works. And now they're unchecked, and there's just it's a question mark.
So what's going to happen in like 5-10 years down the road? Not only with the other animals and their populations, but these
There's
bears
going to be
and like
human bear conflicts.
That's what I mean. Like, they're going to realize they're not being hunted anymore, and we won't be a threat to them.
Yeah, Ranella and their group got charged by a grizzly bear or a brown bear on a Fogneck Island. Adam Greentree got charged up there in Montana, and Snyder and I got charged in BC, and it was like that bear that charged us
on the goat hunt,
a moose hunt.
Okay,
we were calling in a moose, doing our moose thing, and the grizz heard the calling and was like, "Oh, I'll eat this moose."
Yeah,
and I got the camera on it because Aaron's like, "Dude, I hear something right there. I hear something," and I'm like, I'm thinking it's a moose.
Right.
And Aaron says something like, I think it's a grizzly bear, And so I'm like, oh, okay, so I've got the camera on it, and I just finished, like, doing a little interview, and anyway, the bear comes up the hill, and at about 35 yards or 40 yards, the guide sees the bear and is like, get out of here. Oh, yeah, get him. Hey, mama bear, hey. Thing just lit out after us full speed. Jeez. And so it's coming in just fast. And the guy gets the gun up and aims, and he's like, boom! And he shoots in front of the bear at 12 yards, 10 yards, and the bear stops. But the shot goes off and the ground exploded in front of the bear, but it still kept coming another 3-4 yards. So it stops. It's actually 12 yards away, and it looks, and our guy yells at it and says, "Get out of here! Get out of here!"
Yeah.
And the bear like shudders and leans back like, "Whoa!" And then it's like, "Oh no!" And it takes a step forward, and I'm like. And I'm waiting for the gun to go off, and this is too close. Bart, those guys are like, hey, man, if it's within a certain yardage, we're just shooting it.
Yeah.
Period. Right. It's just too close.
Yeah, they're fast.
And the guy didn't shoot it. And now I don't have a gun. I got a camera. Yeah. And Aaron has a bow and arrow, and it's like 10 feet behind him. Like, this is not a good situation. What if the gun, he just shot it and reloaded, but what if it jammed?
Yeah.
And what if, a million things. And it's a giant animal that's, so fast.
And
so fast.
Will eat you.
Will eat you. And Aaron, anyway, it took a few more steps and then just sort of stopped and then turned and ran. And, but it was in that zone where I was like, how fast would it have gone from here to Aaron? And, he said less than 1 second. Well, that's too close, man.
Yeah.
And so you got these bears. I mean, a lot of bear-human interaction, which I'm fine with. But I'm like, the reasons for it just don't seem right. And so I'm asking because here you are tackling a bear hunt, and what do you say in your show? Like, because is it just we went bear hunting, or is there discussions about hunting bears? Or
so we'll tell a little more of the backstory, I'm sure, of why what goes on behind the hunt and the reasons why we're doing what we're doing. I'm sure we're still that'll be our first episode of this new season.
Nice.
It's coming out, so we haven't put it together yet, so we're still kind of working on some of the details and stuff like that, but it'll be a fun one to put together. Alaska's incredible. It's easy to make good film out there, man. It's easy You come back to the Midwest, you're like in a tree stand, like, ugh.
Seen this 100 times, thousands of times.
Yeah,
like,
just unique and different. But yeah, I mean, it's that message needs to be spread a little bit, and people need to really, the more that we can educate people, the better.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's a lot of that going on now. Like Shawn was saying, like we're at a point in time where people actually like care so much more about like what they eat and where their food comes from, and you have a lot of the organic and the that type of stuff, and so it's good. It's bringing shedding a lot of light on what we do to other non-hunters, and whether they understand it or not or accept it or not, it's still at least bringing awareness to it and raising the questions. So
I've been to Prince of Wales Island 3 times for bear, and to me it's like just bear hunting in general is I'm semi addicted to it now. Like I don't know why. There's people that say, I've been bear hunting once, I'm done.
Yep.
I am like, the more I do it, the more I want to do it again. I think you're either kind of that way or you're not.
Yeah.
But sure. I love hunting bears. What did you think?
Oh, it was awesome. It was incredible. But, we've had, this is a Kodiak brown bear hunt, like spot and stalk.
It's like the pinnacle.
Yeah, exactly. And so we had never done a bear hunt before, just mainly because, like most bear hunting, black bear hunting is done over bait, and while we're not against it if it's legal, so be it. It just, I don't know, it didn't have much appeal to us, I guess, hunting over a barrel full of donuts and stuff like that. So I'd much rather do spot and stalk, and there's areas you could do, but the reason they hunt them over bait in those areas up in Canada where whatever is because that's the only effective way to hunt them.
Yeah, right.
And there's no other way.
Right,
so.
Like when I hunted Prince of Wales, we did spot and stalk bear hunting because there's vast tracts of beach, and the bears come out on those beaches, and you can drift down the canals and like a canoe or something or a skiff, and you can get out on the shoreline and sneak up on it. Or there's just so many bears in general. You can walk some logging roads and see them off feeding the grasses and sneak up. And but if you try to do something like that in let's say North Idaho.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck. I mean,
you can't hardly see 20 yards.
No, and you don't have the access points, and so it's just if you really want to target the animal, sometimes baiting is the way it's done. It's sort of like people. Well, why don't you just man up, and why do you got to use a dog to kill a mountain lion?
Yeah.
How many mountain lions have you seen just walking around the woods?
Never. Yeah. There was one hunt that we were in. Shawn and I were in Wyoming, and we were whitetail or mule deer hunting out of. Or we were mule deer hunting.
We were mule deer hunting out of
a tree stand because there's this like cut up this canyon.
Yeah.
That the mule deer were coming out on a regular basis, and so we had a trail camera on there, and we were going to go hunt that night. For whatever reason, we decided to hunt a different spot.
I think the wind was kind of wrong to hunt it there, so we decided to go just like across another canyon to another spot, and we checked that trail camera like, I don't know, maybe the next day or whatever, and there's a big tom there at like broad daylight, 6 p.m. Yeah.
Really?
I was like, that would be so cool.
Yeah, you get a tag for, which I didn't have, but a non-resident can get a tag there for $70.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that would have been incredible.
There's no way to effectively kill him without.
And who knows? Like, he could have picked us out if we were in that tree like 200 yards away.
Could have.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, I shot a wolf with my bow last year.
Really?
Oh, really?
And it was North Idaho, and we were calling in some elk. And I was in a little tiny slot canyon, steep on each side. And I think it was just like a wolf kill box. Like, they just needed the elk to walk in there, and if they went in there, they were like on it.
Yeah.
And I was in that little slot canyon walking up the middle of it, and I just letting off a few calls here and there to see if I could get something to come in. And a bull bugled on the slope right to my right, and the wind was great, and it started coming in. It bugled a couple more times, real timid, but I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So I got into this thicket and got down and was waiting for it to come through the trees, and I could hear it. Elk make noise even when they're.
Oh yeah.
And North Idaho's thick.
Yeah.
So they have to hit. So they're coming down that hill. It's coming down the hill, and it's about to hit this opening in this canopy of trees thicket, and like 7 wolves come cruising into the trees right there. And I never actually saw the bull. He was probably 30, 40 yards still into the tree line, about to pop in, and those wolves came in, and I came to full draw, and they were so focused on the bull. There was a wolf that came out, and I was like, this looks like 30, 35 yards,
Yeah.
So I put 35 on him and shot a wolf.
Sweet.
And so you never know when you're out there.
Yeah.
Right place,
Normally,
right time.
right place, right is a perfect storm, because if I was walking up that canyon, they'd have heard me long before I got there and disappeared.
Yeah.
I happen to be sitting still. That's the one thing that's great about ambush hunting. You talk about sitting in a tree stand. I love to do that.
Yeah.
Even for elk, mule deer, I don't care. Like, it works for every animal.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it a male or female wolf?
Female.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah. She wasn't very big. She was 2 years old, so breeding age, mature, and all that. But there's a big black wolf that just dwarfed the others. Yeah, it's like, and black and the whole. That's the one I wanted to shoot, but it was like 45 yards or so, like further beyond.
Yeah.
I was like, I was pretty relaxed, because it was like, you know, what are you gonna do? You just take the shot you get, and I picked the closest one, and I've had one shot at a mountain lion, that I completely missed at 20 yards. Missed. Just choked.
Yeah.
Jeez. With a bow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was hunting elk in Oregon, and a big herd of elk had got spooked for some reason. There's like 100 head of elk just running through this hillside, and they were still a mile or so out, and I was like, if they keep running this slope, they're going to go through this narrow spot, and the rest is like cliffs above and below. So I was like, I'll go to that pinch point. So I ran down the hill and all the way up the other side and got there just as they were coming through. I got there a little late, but they were so like driven and running. I was like, huh. So I sat there for a while, and anyway, I didn't shoot one. And a little bit later, as I'm sitting there, and a cougar came through following with the herd, just kind of intermixed in there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that doesn't sound like an elk. So I'm looking through the trees, and sure enough, at 20 yards, it's broadside and it's walking, just kind of trotting through and following the elk. A bunch of elk had just come through. There were a few elk behind him, and I don't know what this cougar was up to. But I came to full draw, and you know how like a prey animal is looking forward?
Yeah.
You know, and then you come to full draw and they turn their head, right? Right? That's what they do.
Oh, yeah.
Predators line up on you.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't ready for that. So when it turned its head, it turned and actually came at me when it saw like the movement. And then it came straight at me, and then it was down, and its tail was doing, its shoulders were like it was going to spring.
Yeah.
And I don't think it knew what I was. It just had seen movement among elk it was chasing. And this was like 10 years ago. And I just panicked and let the arrow go, and I don't remember. I blacked out. I blacked out, and it just sailed right past it. And then it swirled and ran away, which was good. But then I was watching my back for the next hour. Like,
no doubt.
I was seriously looking in every direction.
Coming back for you.
Too.
That's funny, though. That's how, like, even, you know, in the Midwest, for us, like, you know, if you wanted to, like, try to call in and kill a coyote or bobcat or predator, it'd be really tough with a bow. But, you know, we ended up shooting a handful of them out of the stand just by them, you know, happening to be walking by and, you know, being in the right place at the right time. So
it's incredible, too, like, when you draw on even a coyote, like, out of the tree, how quick they can pick you out.
Yep. That's uncanny, and that's why I say when people are just hunt a mountain lion, you know, it's like you
crawling his
without a dog.
Stab him in the heart with a knife. No big deal.
No big deal. It's just not like what people think it is.
No.
And unfortunately, it's hard to educate. It's hard for people to understand how that works.
Yeah, people. I mean, mountain lions are beautiful too. So you know, it's people, you know, and they, you know, they think it's not fair or whatever. You're chasing them with dogs, but yeah, I mean, that's literally the only way to keep them in, you know, in check. And
I think it's neat though that you did that hunt and that you're adding that to the show, and because there's an element of risk.
Yeah. When
you go and you do a predator hunt, because predator hunting is controversial and difficult to understand. No one complains when you shoot a whitetail.
Right. Yeah, because they're hitting them with cars. And they hate them.
They're like, oh yeah, great, another whitetail gone. Like they don't have a soul the way that, for example, like a bear does.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's either the programs done about those kind of hunts are done poorly, or two, people avoid them altogether and pull some self-righteous card about how they're morally superior, would never hunt a bear because it's wrong.
Yeah.
Either one.
And you get the bear hunt. You're talking about the economy and the dollars raised by the hunts and stuff, and they have a big price tag on them. So a lot of people associate that with trophy hunting or whatever. And really, if you think about it, I mean, yeah, they're expensive hunts, but when you actually see what all goes into it, I mean, I was out there with Cole, I was out there with Ryan, an assistant guide. We had the planes flying us out there, the beavers flying us out there. And there's a lot of costs associated. Food for 2 weeks. There was
gear, everything.
3 camera guys, or me and 2 camera guys, 2 guys. So there's 5 of us out there for 2 weeks they're 2 weeks at a time. I mean, there's a lot of people, a lot of resources involved. So it's not
I thought the exact same thing when I went on that mountain goat hunt.
Yeah, you see how much money goes into it.
Dude, we've made multiple flights in a plane, not just with us to get our bodies there, but they went back and forth with food for a couple weeks to this remote location. And then there's a whole lodge and cabin that somebody built on some land that they got going. And then it takes all the time and money it takes to run that. But the thing that blew my mind was they had like 30 horses there. And I was asking them, well, how did you get these horses out here? And they're like, oh, we took a week to ride them through the bush.
Yeah.
From the highway.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And then they're like, there's all these full-time wranglers there that just take care of the horses all day. And then we use those horses to get into places and to get the goats back out and us back out. And I've looked at the logistics of that, how much each horse costs, the horse tack. And I've owned horses, mules, I've owned pack goats, dogs, like the whole deal. And any animal that you got to deal with like that is really expensive.
Yeah. We were just talking to Dustin Rowe about it. He runs an outfit in BC, and he was talking. I was asking like, how do you get the horses back in there? Same thing. I was like, how far of a ride is that? He's like, well, if you rode it straight through, it'd be like 5 days. But they hunt their way in slowly. They're in for the whole season, then they hunt their way out at the end of the season. So there's a lot of logistics behind it all. You don't realize and don't think about until you really experience it or hear how it works.
Yeah, that's just it. And I'm like, Bart, you're not making that much money after you figure out, No,
I know. And that's what I think people associate them with. They're like, oh, they have these huge $5 hunts. This guy's loaded. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, outfitting is a tough gig.
Yeah. Yeah, we had Dustin on the podcast, and I was fascinated by his pack dogs.
Yeah, so was I. He was telling me about that yesterday.
Oh, dude. So legit. I don't know if you've looked at some photos on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
he was showing me all sorts of photos.
I'm like, dude, dogs it's tempting. I might bring a couple on some elk hunts.
I have a boxer, and I was like, what kind of dogs are these? Like, well, it's a Newfoundland and a boxer
cross.
I'm like, man, I'm getting ideas in my mind.
A Newfoundland dog is big too.
Yeah.
And then a boxer, it's like, what? And
yeah, it's an interesting breed.
Yeah.
How well disciplined his dogs are. He stalks sheep and he tells them to stay. They'll stay there for hours in the same spot.
That must be the Newfoundland side, not the boxers.
Mine's not like
those boxers would be big-eyed, running up right behind you, trying to lick you.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work with dogs and trained dogs, and it's a lot of work to train a dog. But you take a year, 2 years, and you really invest your time into it. You get 10 years of enjoyment. And it doesn't surprise me that they're that disciplined.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Dogs are so compliant.
They are.
I mean, if you get, of course, you have to have some basic ingredients to start with.
Right.
If they're spastic and they're wetting themselves all the time, and there's
some of them are a lost cause.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's crazy. Dogs are.
I'm glad they're calling.
I know.
What's that?
I said I'm glad they're calling Daniel Bledsoe and not Michael Hunsucker to the Mule Deer Foundation.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up. So, guys, where can people they can find you at Heartland Bowhunter?
Yeah, we're everywhere on Instagram, social media, Facebook, Heartland Bowhunter.
And then Carbon TV.
Carbon TV, we do the 20 originals. So just getting ready to come out here this spring is our Full Strut miniseries, which is kind of cool, all archery turkey hunting.
Nice.
Which if you haven't done any of that, you got to
I haven't done any of it.
So we do it
I need to do that.
We do it like run and gun style with the bow, like no blinds and just running around. It's fun. And so that stuff will premiere this spring on Carbon TV.
Okay.
And then Behind the Draw is our miniseries that is big game hunting. That'll be this fall on Carbon TV. And then the new season 11 of the show will be on Outdoor Channel starting in July. So.
And we also have film school coming up this summer that we put on every year. A lot of people have been asking.
I've been eyeballing that for a while.
Yeah, we're putting it on July 14th and 15th in Kansas City.
Yeah.
If you guys have questions about it, anybody has questions, just email us at customer service at heartlandbowhunter.com.
Sweet.
Yep.
Keep it up, guys.
All right.
I love it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
all
thanks
right.
for having us. I'm glad we got to check out the film and everything.
Stay
finally
gritty.
Meet.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Gritty bingo.
That's right.
No, you can't just say bingo.
Despite our ever-changing, ever-indignant world with its growing ignorance of and indifference to the ways of the wild, I remain a predator, pitying those who revel in artificiality and synthetic success while regarding me and my kind as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood. I stalk a real world of dark wood and tall grass stirred by a restless wind blowing across sunlit water and beneath star-strewn sky. And on those occasions when I choose to kill, to claim some small part of nature's bounty for my own, I do so by choice, quickly, with the learned efficiency of a skilled hunter. Further, in my heart and mind, I know the truth and make no apologies for my actions or my place in time. Others around me may opt to eat only plants, nuts, and fruits. Still others may employ faceless strangers to procure their meats, their leather, their feathers, and all those niceties and necessities of life. Such is their right, of course, and I wish them well. All I ask in return is no one begrudge me, and all of us who may answer the primordial stirrings within our hunter souls, my right to do some of these things myself.
What you just heard is a quote from M.R. James. We truly live in a world that is largely ignorant and indifferent to the ways of the wild. And although some regard us as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood, we have the opportunity to change the way these people view the hunter and the hunt. We can share our experiences and nature's bounty with those who employ these faceless strangers. And by so doing, we make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for the wild animals in the wild places we care so deeply about. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting and the outdoors. Our wild animals and our wild places depend on it.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowmen.
Gritty Bowmen.